This is the specimen of larynx with hyoid bone and the trachea. This is the hyoid bone. The hyoid bone has the central part, which is the body of hyoid bone. This is the body in the center, and on each side there are greater and lesser horns. So this is the hyoid bone. This view is from the anterior aspect. Below hyoid bone, here we can see the thyroid cartilage. The thyroid cartilage is formed by two lamina, left and right lamina, which fuse anteriorly in the midline. This prominence is the laryngeal prominence or the Adam's apple. Above this there is a notch. This is known as the superior thyroid notch. Each lamina has an oblique line. This is the oblique line of the lamina of thyroid cartilage, to which muscles are attached, namely sternothyroid, thyrohyoid and inferior constrictor muscles. Below the thyroid cartilage, we can see here the cricoid cartilage. The cricoid cartilage is the only cartilage which is complete circular cartilage in the airway. The anterior part of the cricoid cartilage is narrow and it is known as the arch of cricoid cartilage, and posteriorly this broad part of the cricoid cartilage is known as lamina of cricoid cartilage. So this is the lamina from the posterior aspect, and this is the arch of cricoid from the anterior aspect. This is the cricothyroid membrane between cricoid and thyroid cartilage, and here we can see muscle between cricoid and thyroid cartilage. This is a cricothyroid muscle. The cricothyroid muscle is supplied by external laryngeal nerve, which is a branch of superior laryngeal nerve, which is a branch of vagus nerve. Posteriorly, we can see here the epiglottis. This is the epiglottis behind the hyoid bone. Above the lamina of the cricoid cartilage, one on each side, we can see the arytenoid cartilage. So this is the left and right arytenoid cartilages, and this fold of mucosa between arytenoid and the epiglottis on each side is known as aryepiglottic fold. So these are the aryepiglottic folds. So the epiglottis, aryepiglottic folds, the arytenoid cartilage form the inlet of larynx, that is the entry into the cavity of the larynx. On each side of the inlet, we can see here the pyriform fossa. So this is the pyriform fossa, which is a common site for foreign bodies to get trapped. Within the aryepiglottic fold, we can see two smaller cartilages. Above arytenoid will be corniculate cartilage and the cuneiform cartilages within the aryepiglottic fold. Also, we can see here there is a muscle taking origin from the posterior surface of the lamina of cricoid cartilage. This muscle is a posterior cricoarytenoid muscle, which is inserted into the lateral process or the muscular process of the arytenoid cartilage. So this is the posterior cricoarytenoid, which is the only abductor of the vocal fold, also known as the safety muscle of the larynx. Between thyroid and hyoid there will be membrane, that is thyrohyoid membrane, which will be pierced by internal laryngeal nerve and the superior laryngeal vessels. Below cricoid we can see the rings of trachea. So these are the rings of trachea. Out of these cartilages, the thyroid cartilage, cricoid cartilage and the base of the arytenoid cartilage are formed by hyaline cartilages, whereas the epiglottis, corniculate, cuneiform cartilages and the apices of the arytenoid cartilage are formed by elastic cartilage. So this is the posterior view of the larynx, and this is the anterior view of the larynx. This is another specimen of the larynx which shows the epiglottis. the airy epiglottic fold on each side, the arytenoid cartilage. This is the lamina of the cricoid cartilage, and this is the posterior cricoarytenoid muscle. On each side here will be the location of the pyriform fossa. This is the hyoid bone. This is the thyroid cartilage, below which this is the arch of cricoid cartilage. This is the cricothyroid muscle. So if we see in the sagittal section, this is the larynx, below the oral cavity here. This is the epiglottis. First, we must identify the different cartilages which form the larynx. This is the thyroid cartilage anteriorly, below which this is the arch of cricoid cartilage. Posteriorly, this is the lamina of cricoid cartilage, above which this is the arytenoid cartilage, and this fold of mucosa is the airy epiglottic fold, within which there are corniculate and the cuneiform cartilages. Now the cavity of the larynx extends from the inlet up to the lower border of the cricoid cartilage. If we see in the cavity, there are two folds of mucous membrane. The upper fold is the vestibular fold. The lower fold is the vocal fold. The vestibular fold is the lower free border of quadrate membrane, and the vocal fold is the upper free border of conus elasticus. The inlet of the larynx, which is formed by epiglottis anteriorly, interarytenoid fold of mucosa posteriorly, and airy epiglottic fold on each side. This is obliquely placed facing backward and upward and opens into laryngopharynx posteriorly. These folds, vestibular and vocal fold, divide the cavity of the larynx into three parts. The part from inlet of larynx up to vestibular fold is known as vestibule or supraglottic part. This narrow fusiform cleft between vestibular fold and vocal fold is the sinus of Morgagni or ventricle of the larynx, and the part below the vocal fold up to the lower border of cricoid cartilage is the infraglottic part. Below this, the larynx continues with the trachea. The space between the two vestibular fold, left and right vestibular fold, is known as rima vestibuli, and the space between the right and left vocal fold is known as rima glottidis. The anterior part of the sinus or ventricle is prolonged upward as a diverticulum between vestibular fold and the lamina of thyroid cartilage. This diverticulum is known as saccule of larynx, which contains numerous mucous glands which help lubricate the vocal folds. In this section we can see from behind. So this is the inlet of larynx. Anteriorly epiglottis, posteriorly is the interarytenoid fold of mucosa, and on each side this is the airy epiglottic fold. On each side of airy epiglottic fold is the location of pyriform fossa. If we cut through the lamina of cricoid cartilage, we can see the cavity of the larynx having two folds of mucosa on each side. So this upper fold is the vestibular fold, the lower fold is the vocal fold. The space between vestibular and vocal fold is the sinus or ventricle of larynx. So the space between the two vestibular fold will be the rima vestibuli, and the space between the two vocal fold will be the rima glottidis. The part above the vestibular fold up to the inlet is the vestibule or supraglottic part. The middle part is the sinus or ventricle of larynx, and the part below vocal fold is the infraglottic part. If we see the sensory supply of larynx above the level of vocal fold, The mucosa is supplied by the internal laryngeal branch of the superior laryngeal branch of vagus nerve, whereas the part below vocal fold will be supplied by recurrent laryngeal branch of vagus nerve. Also, all the muscles of larynx will be supplied by recurrent laryngeal nerve except cricothyroid, which is supplied by external laryngeal nerve. So this is the larynx seen from behind, epiglottis with the tongue, and anteriorly we can see here the thyroid cartilage, below which there is a cricoid cartilage. This is the thyroid gland, right lobe, left lobe connected by isthmus.